This lecture module is entitled The Quantity Theory of Money. This is the classical equation of exchange, where the money supply, you can learn about the money supply on Wiki, times the volume of money, how often does the money turn over, is equal to the price times the quantity. So this would be the money side of the economy, and this would be the real side of the economy. And then that is equal to GDP. And GDP, we know from our Keynesian equation, are the flows for the national income expenditures for these categories for a given year. So it's the flow variables. Whereas we know for Murray Rothbard that G over Y is a burden. In this lecture module, I'm using reductio ad absurdum mode of rhetoric to make a point. So we're looking at Keynesian monetarist and Austrian views of what happens when you manipulate the money supply. The views that I'm presenting here are a lot more simple than they are in scholarly work. This is for principles of economics class, just to make a point and introduce some ideas. So money supply times how often the money turns over, and for the sake of simplification, economists hold the volume of money constant. That's like a technological factor. Right. So for Keynesians, when you increase the money supply, then that increases the real economy. So it has a positive effect on productivity and output for Keynesians when you increase the money supply. For monetarists, Chicago School monetarists, when you increase the money supply, the only thing that it does is affect prices. It doesn't have any effect on real productivity and standards of living. Now, the Austrian school, they have a different view altogether. The Austrian school is that, and again, it's more subtle than what I'm explaining here, but when you increase the money supply, it doesn't have an effect on the real economy. It only affects stocks. So when you increase the money, stock variables, not flow variables. So when you increase the money supply, for Austrians, it doesn't have an effect on the real economy, but the stock market goes up, the real estate market goes up, and the art market goes up. So it also has regressive effects in that the purchasing power of money goes down at the same time that the asset markets go up. So we explain this in a Hardfire TV show, The Problem with Macroeconomics. We get in a little bit more about how monetary manipulation of the monetary manipulation affects the business cycles and exacerbates the business cycles. And you can see that with in our show, The Problem with Macroeconomics. And there's a very good book, recent book, about the manipulation of the money supply, the Skyscraper Index, how Austrian economists predicted every major economic crisis of the last century using the Skyscraper Index idea. And you can read about that Skyscraper Index idea in Wiki. So that's completes our lecture module on the quantity theory of money.